Good morning, everybody. Jaguaria says good morning over on Hela on Twitch. And on YouTube, Dribrum says he's having churros right now. Oh, man. Dude, churros are, especially when when they're done right, churros with ice cream, like churros with vanilla ice cream or churros with chocolate ice cream, or just churros with coffee, man. Churros are delicious when they're fresh, sprinkled with brown sugar and cinnamon. Churros are amazing. I will absolutely agree on that. Yeah, they are, Star Killer. When we were living in Mexico City, there was a restaurant. It's not a restaurant, sorry. It was a churro place, but it was out our front door, and you go down 2 blocks, cross the street, and one more. So it was 5 minutes from our house. And that place, because Chris, it was on the way to my gym and on the way to Christina's English university where she was getting her certifications. And we went and walked by that place twice a day for a couple of years. There was always a line that stretched like down 2 streets every single day in the morning, and then at night people would be getting off work and going out on dates and taking their boyfriends and girlfriends. You'd be in line 30 minutes. The churros were that good. It was a spectacular churro place, and you could smell it for like just forever. Churros are good. We make them here probably once a week. Not once a week, sorry, once a month. My brain is telling me once a week. I want churros once a week. We do churros probably once a month. Chris, because for her, she likes pancakes more than churros. But it's kind of the same process. You're just doing it in a different, putting the batter in a different way. I like churros more than pancakes, but it's probably because I grew up with pancakes and she grew up with churros. So for her, churros are it's churros. And for me, I'm like, churros, man. I would rather have churros than pancakes. Although those Dutch baby pancakes we make are pretty good. Now you got me thinking about churros first thing in the morning. I forgot to get my protein bar. Probably have to get that in a second. This little monster down here, she looks all nice and sweet. I was putting her down there in her bed today, and she got pissed off. I don't know how I'm able to show that. Nah, it's not going to show up on camera worth a shit. That right there, she bit me pretty good this morning. When she gets overstimulated, she bites. Commander Red Room says, about to finish my graveyard shift and head home to sleep in about 30 minutes. Nice. Star Killer says, it's cool how textures can change how foods taste. It's also one of the reasons I had such a great time with your mom last night. Sorry. Not sorry. Had to crack out the mom jokes first thing in the morning. It is weird how textures could change that, because here's the thing. Chicken feet have a great flavor, and they are full of collagen, which is extremely healthy for you. And I cannot stand the texture of chicken feet. Chris loves them. Like whenever we cook chicken, the whole chicken goes in the pot. Everything other than the beak. The beak and the head are the only thing that don't go in the pot. But everything else, from the neck down, goes in the pot. And Chris, everybody here in her family loves chicken feet. I have tried them multiple times and I cannot get past the texture, and I know it's a me problem. It is a me problem because the flavor is fine. It's just chicken. Tastes like chicken broth. Tastes like the chicken. But it's that texture. It's like gelatinous, slimy. Blah. Good morning, Blueface. Same thing with pig's feet. Pig's feet are delicious when they are grilled, but I don't like the texture of pig's feet. I just don't. Coffee. All right, welcome back. Let's torture ourselves some more with some more Crimson Desert, the game I love to rant about. Ooh, my barber dude wants me to do something.
I want to treat them, make them feel fresh again. You got a minute to talk? I heard of a village where the sick and frail all live together.
Gerbum says I crafted the jetpack for the orc companion. It's a fun toy, but not a flying, not the best flying.
Tend to their hair, lift their spirits, even if only a little.
What's up,
Ewok?
Ewok?
If I'm alive unannounced, they might be wary. Could you go first and explain my intentions?
Well, I
If
could.
they say yes, I'll go after.
We are also slowly getting to the point where I can do my 100,000 camp expansion. Oh, Jesus, that's a long way away. Well, I got nothing but time to burn today, everybody, because I'm not going to be doing any quests today. I'm going to be working on purely crafting. And harvesting resources to try to get better gear. That is going to be my objective today.
Always a welcome sight.
Kyle, got some goodies to deliver, Kyle.
You could fatten the camp's funds through a bit of trading.
Oh. That's a new one. I don't see any reason to use that golden sword other than it looks cool.
You could fatten the... I'll be here if you need me.
Good for you, Kyle. Waiting for my coffee to kick on in. Right now, I want to stash. Oh, I could also stash that sword. I'm not going to use that right now. There it is. Wait, do I have two different fishing poles? Somehow I have two fishing poles. Let's make some inventory space. I can't drop those because those are quest related. But if it's not a quest, I'm going to drop all these books. Bleak the Horse Manager. Oh wait, was there a second page I could read in there? Hold up. Because it looked like he only looked at the first picture. Yeah, the second one is Bleak and Grimsel. I guess these are related to quests. What the hell was this for, I wonder? Was this the gold leaf? Is this the quest that I did forever ago where I was like searching out? Yeah, I think this was when I was doing that quest for the gold leaf merchants and I was like trying to figure out. That's weird. I guess I could have looked at the book. Oh, that's some funny shit, man. Discard. Discard, discard, discard. Have I not looked at this one? Oh, yeah, I've seen that. Discard that too. I don't care about any of this shit. Get out of my inventory. Taking up space. Alright, I think we've done... Oh, I could stash that thing in the box too. And then I'll be good to go. Of course, when you open this up, it's way more complex. There it is.
Hello, hello.
Points me in that direction. Oh my goodness. That is all the way down there. What else do I have now? Is that a bounty? It is. Well, that is a long way. I think what I will do here, since we're looking for gear and harvesting, I think the smart thing to do here would be to maybe go visit these caves on the way down. Or if I don't want to be overburdened, why don't we ride down there first and then we can meander. Yeah, that's the thing. We're gonna ride down there quick and then we're gonna meander back and harvest. Because I see some cliffs and I need lots of ore on the way back. Books can be gifted to some vendors. Nice. What's up, Napier? Oh, Napier redeemed a Renfail rant. Oh, Hang on, I was not paying attention to chat. Give me 2 seconds, and we will definitely do that. Gave you information on those guys. Yeah, I never. You know what? There needs to be an audio cue for when someone redeems a Renfail rant. There's no audio cue set up for that. I don't know if I can set up an audio cue for that event. I might be able to. I would have to check. Hang on, I gotta find my pen. That's a good topic. So, we're at 21. Exploits and hacks. All right, so JP Napier, just redeemed a Renfail rant over on Twitch for 5,000 channel points. How exploits and hacks will never go away in the gaming world. I have a phrase that I like to use on my channel frequently. Only bitches use glitches. Because I swear, like every game we play, you'll have somebody coming in and saying something like, well, why don't you just do this in order to win? Why don't you just do this to get that piece of armor? Why don't you just do this? And every single time it's always a cheat or a glitch or a hack. Why don't you just, like, you could totally use this glitch to get 5,000 gold coins instead of actually selling gear and only doing 50 gold coins, right? Some of it, I think, good morning, Lou. I think some of it comes down to there are always going to be people who want to take the easy way because they don't want to put in the time and effort. Consequently, these tend to be people who will never, ever get beyond being a burger flipper or a gas pump station attendant. They will work the lowest jobs on the totem pole for their entire life because they don't want to put any work in to succeed. They don't want to put any effort in. They're the ones who cheat at school on exams. They're the ones who use ChatGPT in class because they don't want to study. They don't want to memorize. They don't want to put the time in. Remember, glitches are for bitches. And people who cheat tend to cheat from the time they are children. Some of that is due to having bad parental guidance and never being taught the proper way to do things, or the fact that when you work for something and you earn it, you feel far better about the thing that you achieved, whether it's in life or in games, where you have actually put in the time and it's yours because of hard work. I think also some of these people have never worked in a creative field where you take something from scratch, whether it's a concept art all the way through the end of it, sculpting something from a lump of clay, taking a block of wood and turning it into a really cool figurine or a statue. If you've ever done any sort of creative process, the process of going from that lump of clay to the finished sculpture is something where if you skip any part of that process, you've lost the magic of creation. Sorry, I'm a little stuffy this morning. So there's a whole bunch of psychological stuff that goes into why certain people love exploits and hacks. It's usually related to the fact that they just don't want to put in the time and effort to do anything. Now, there is also something to be said for legitimate moments when you might use a glitch to do something to get around something that's broken in the game, which is a different thing entirely. Dribum says there's a cheesy way to kill a boss in this game where you can one-shot it while lifting up a tree and smashing it in the mob's face. So like I saw yesterday as an example, IGN posted a a video for a boss fight. It was like a guide to this boss fight. I think it might have been the Stag Lord. I haven't faced that boss yet. And they were posting this guide, and it's a lengthy guide of how to beat the boss and all these different tactics and how to work through his different boss moves. And if you go to the very first comment was, waste of time, you can one-shot that boss with this simple hack. And it was like, literally, like the first comment on that video that I saw last night was, why bother? I can beat it with one click of a button using this hack, this glitch, this cheat. And that's because those are the same people who cheat at exams. They use ChatGPT. Again, they never learn how to do basic math, so they've always used a calculator. They won't go very far in life because they cheated their way to where they are. It's just simple facts. That's why they're stuck in their mom's basements, only using cheats because they don't know how to actually accomplish it in the real world. And there is something to be said too for when you do something for realsies, there is a work ethic that becomes a part of you from the time you are a child. I don't necessarily agree with all the things that we learn in school because there is that thing about every school tries to take us, every kid is a square block when they start, but they're trying to force everybody through a circle hole. And so a lot of kids, they will take the kids and they will try to cut those kids into circles. I'm sure you've seen this meme on the internet where they try to take a square kid and put him through the round circle. I do think that there is something to be said for some of the things that are taught in school. Education is an important thing because if we didn't have education, we would all just be cavemen living in packs and killing each other like we used to do. Wait, don't we still do that? I think we still do that. But we would be acting more like beasts of the field than civilization who has created airplanes and spaceships. The fact that we just sent people to the moon again last night. Part of learning how to do something when you're a kid. I'm watching my grandniece go through this now because she goes to school Monday through Friday with us. She's struggling with something that I find incredibly simple. And you know what that is? Coloring within the lines. So she's got this coloring book and she's learning how to count to 1 to 10. She's learning how to trace lines, how to color within the lines. She's learning all of these basic motor skills and like things that for us are simple. Color within the lines, right? Follow the dotted lines, draw this shape. These things are instrumental in teaching us how to write the letter A, the letter B, the letter C. These are instrumental things that have been proven over thousands of years of teaching. But if you cheat and you just use your phone and you never learn how to write and draw those lines, then you end up being kind of worthless when it comes to like modern society because you won't ever be able to do anything. You won't be able to write. You won't be able to read other people's writing. You won't be able to draw simple instructions to lead a team of people. You won't be able to explain to other people how to do a simple task because you didn't learn how to draw lines and fill in circles when you were a 3-year-old child. So cheaters never win. This is a great phrase that we're all taught when we're kids, but I don't think a lot of us really understand what that means until we get to be adults. Cheaters never win. So the fundamental social aspect of the type of people who like to use exploits and hacks are losers because that's just how they were raised. They've always been lazy. They will never amount to anything. That's just facts. JK says the most important thing to learn is how you learn. Yeah. You're a pilot now. What are the cheat codes? Huh. Susanok said, my brother noticed at his workplace that some people go to great lengths to not work, even though it would be easier just to do the job. You're not wrong. Lazy people will do a lot of hard work to avoid actually doing any work. They will go to great lengths to cheat in order to win. Good morning, Kieran. Good morning, Flying Turtle. Good morning, everybody. So, I think that Yeah, it's just a subset of the species when it comes to people who like to cheat and use exploits. Like I said, only bitches use glitches. And the one example to this that I will say is a legitimate one is I can remember when I was, oh man, I would have been late teens when Baldur's Gate 1 or 2, I think Baldur's Gate 1 was when I was like 16 or 17, maybe. Baldur's Gate 2 would have been like 18, 19. Don't quite remember exactly. I beat those games legitimately um, the first few times. And then after that, I went in and was able to use the command codes, the cheat codes, as it were, to then go in and modify my game and do things like give my character max 25 stats, or to give my character 50,000 gold at the beginning of the game so that I could buy all the cool gear. But I had already beat the game 3, 4, 5 times by that point. And so I think when you have already done it the hard way, there's nothing wrong with then going back and using hacks and cheats to play around with things. Because at this point, you're doing it for funsies, you're not doing it for realsies. There's also when things are broken. I can remember in EverQuest 2 when the burning, what was it called? It was the second DLC, the desert. I can't remember the name of that expansion pack now. But at the end of that expansion pack, there was the raid fights that we were doing to get your epic weapons, and it was called the God King weapon. And our guild was the number 2 guild on our server, and we had spent weeks getting up to the final raid. And this is before persistent instances. So when you opened up an instance to go in to kill the boss mob, if you didn't do it and you logged out of that instance, that was it. You had to wait and come back and do it again next week. So we had gone in on a Friday night and spent like 8 hours trying the boss mob. And this is, no strategies are out. This is early internet. Nobody's posting guides or videos or anything like that. So we're trying to figure this out on our own. And we're a successful raid guild. We're the number 2 on our server. We're in the top 10 worldwide for EverQuest 2 guilds. And we are banging our heads against this encounter. We go to bed. People sleep in shifts to keep the zone open. So we had nobody logged out, right? Everybody just left their computers on, and all of our characters stayed logged into the instance so that we wouldn't lose the instance and lose those 8 hours of progress that we had made fighting the boss mobs to get up to, fighting the trash mobs to get to the boss. And people slept in shifts, so that made sure that because if somebody got kicked out for some reason, their internet connection died. We had people who were playing on dial-up. This is years ago, right? And next day, Saturday, we all come back around noon. We get back into it. We do it again. Go all Saturday afternoon. We still can't beat the boss mob because he's just not wanting to come down off his pedestal, and we keep getting one-shotted, and we find all this stuff out. So on Sunday, we come back to do it again, and our guild leader sends a message to the guild leader of the number 1 guild on the server and said, "Hey man, how did you guys do this? Because we've been in here, 2 days now, and we can't beat this." And he's like, "Oh yeah, that boss is bugged." And we talked to one of the developers, and they said for the meantime, since it's bugged and it's not working as properly and they're not going to be able to patch it for a while, just to do this thing. And that thing was a glitch. So the developers of the game rumored, I can't confirm this is many, many years ago, supposedly, because that, back in the day, a lot of the raid guilds, the big raid guilds, would get into the beta, and they would be the ones testing the boss fights for the developers before they went live on the servers. So one of the big number 1 guild on our server had an in with the developers, had been in beta testing, and apparently one of the developers had told him, yeah, the boss is unbeatable right now because of the glitch. They weren't worried about patching it very quickly because it was going to be a long time for the vast majority of guilds to get there. We, being a number 2 guild, the number 1 guild, and maybe a couple of other guilds, had gotten there quickly before they had a chance to patch it. And the glitch was, take a monk character who can feign death, run that monk character up around the back of the boss, have him jump up on the wall and hang on the wall, and then periodically jump off the wall and fall to the ground, feign death, jump up, grab the wall again. And that'll attract the attention of the boss mob. And what you're going to be doing is you're having the monk hang on the wall to get the attention of the boss mob. The rest of the raid attacks him from behind and just goes willy-nilly. And then the monk will, when the boss turns around and tries to reset, the monk needs to jump off the wall down here and fall to the ground to provoke that boss mob to keep trying to attack him and to try to jump off the wall. And then when he does that, jump back up on the wall with your monk character and keep the focus. And so we did that, and we beat the boss mob, and we were on. That was a perfect example of when a glitch can be legitimately used to get around broken content. But I think that's the only time that a glitch or a hack or a cheat is a legitimate use of something, because a developer hasn't patched it in or fixed it in. That's a good example of something being done. What if you have an intellectual disability and find stuff difficult? That's not a reason to cheat. You just find other creative ways. Here's a perfect example. There are people out there who have no arms, and they play video games with their feet. They play Xbox controllers, PlayStation controllers that are modified, and they play them with their feet. We have other people who are paraplegics, and they have these mouth tubes that they can blow into and move around with their mouth. And there are people who successfully play Call of Duty with their mouths. Hard work beats cheaters. Like, those people, they're not cheating. They found creative solutions and put in the hard work to still do it. So anybody who has a disability, like, sorry, there are other ways around things like that. Like Dr. Schultze says, those people are amazing in that they have found a way to successfully play video games with creative solutions, despite the fact that, you know, not all games provide great accessibility options. This game, as an example, is one of the worst games I've ever played as far as accessibility options go. There is no accessibility, period, in this game. If you go to the accessibility options, there are no options there at all. There's no colorblind mode. There's no text-to-speech mode. There's no accessibility options in this game at all. It is one of the worst games I've seen in the modern era for a lack of accessibility options for people playing with disabilities/handicaps. Similar to the man who lived in an iron lung machine who used his mouth to write. Correct. People find ways to get around. So that's not a legitimate, somebody living with a disability is not a legitimate reason to cheat or hack. Those people will find creative solutions, and or other people will help work with them to create specialty controllers and specialty systems. And in the case of like Ubisoft games, I will praise Ubisoft games till the cows come home, because they have some of the best accessibility options in the industry for colorblind modes, for voice to text modes, for PlayStation games, like the Last of Us games. Also, they have like a I forget what it's called, but it's like a sonar mode for people who have sight problems. Also being able to, like, for people who can't do fast button presses because they're older, they have arthritis, they don't have their hands, they're playing with their feet, Ubisoft games will often, pretty much I think all of them actually, will allow you to turn off QuickTime events so that you don't have to do the button mashing things. You can turn off, like if there's, like Star Wars Outlaws is a good example of this. Also Ghost of Yotei. There might be a lock picking mechanic, and for the people who want to do the lock picking mechanic, you can do it. But then you also have the option to turn off the lock picking so that you don't have to do it. So that if you're not good with buttons, you don't have to do that. South of Midnight was a great game that came out on the Xbox. It's now coming out on the PlayStation. The accessibility in that game was amazing. You could completely turn off just the boss fights, or you could turn off all combat so that you could only focus on the story and the puzzles, or you could crank the combat difficulty all the way up and play it on like a Souls-like mode if you wanted to. So South of Midnight did this thing where they created a game where all different types of players all across the spectrum could play their game how they wanted to, going into the accessibility options and changing the game to suit their unique needs. So that is an example of game companies who give a shit about people with disabilities, going in and creating lots of accessibility options. This game does not does not do that. This game does not respect those people at all. History Bologna says I have limited use of my right arm. I've mapped buttons for my left hand on my Steam Deck. There you go. Perfect. WWE 2K6 has 2K26 has options to remap buttons for accessibility. Right, like this game doesn't let you remap buttons at all. You know, there are games that allow you to. So, but now we're off on another tangent. Beyond hacks and cheats. But I can't spin this back around. Look at all of these people who find ways to play games even with disabilities, right? They're not hacking the games. They're not cheating. Somebody playing a controller with their mouth because they are paraplegic from the neck down, they are not cheating. They found a creative solution to still play the game and have fun with it. Those people put in the time, put in the hard work, and actually did it. They didn't cheat to win. They worked to make that happen. So remember, cheaters never win, and only bitches use glitches. Great rant question, JP. Yeah, exactly, JK. But Ren, everyone should be forced to play the games how I want to play them. Unfortunately, we do have a subset of the species who believe that. Yeah. I've seen some really horrific comments from people who don't believe that people with disabilities should be able to play video games because it's just not built for you. It's just not made for you. Lou says, I'm a Marine. Where are my accessibility options? Yeah, Susanok, I really did not like the button mashing arm wrestling thing here in this game. And I really hate in combat when you get taken down and they have this quick time event to break away from the grapple. It should just be like a hold the button or, you know, maybe tap the button a few times. But instead it's this thing where you like, the timer goes like this and you're expected to quickly, you got to tap it just within that window of perfect timing. Otherwise they keep grappling you. It's really annoying. Crimson Desert, the best worst game. Yeah, we're getting close to me doing my final review for this game, and the tagline is going to be the funnest shitty game I've ever played. Sav Spirit says we have a charity in the UK called Special Effect that comes up with some amazing technology so that everyone can play. That's awesome. The kudos to them for doing that. That is an awesome thing. I'm a Marine. Where are my disability options? That's funny shit, man. I saw that comment again, and I'm just like, Lou. That's a good one, man. Karen says there are always alternatives if you apply yourself and put in the effort. I agree. Someone wants to know, is it worth buying Starfield on the PlayStation or PC? Neither. You shouldn't buy the game if you're questioning whether the game is worth it. Yeah. If you're questioning whether a game is worth the money, that means that you don't have the money to spend and you're wondering whether or not you should spend the money, then you shouldn't be buying the thing. If you're not 100% sure that the thing you want to purchase is going to be worth the purchase, then it's not worth purchasing. It doesn't matter what game it is. It doesn't matter if it's a car, a burger, a steak, a box of cereal at the grocery store. Like, if you're on the fence about buying something, that means that you are someone with a restricted budget and you need to make sure that your dollars or your pounds or your euro go as far as they can. Then you should not be spending that money. The only reason you should buy a video game, which is a luxury item, is if you are 100% sure that you're going to get enjoyment out of it. Or you have the disposable income where a $70 purchase doesn't matter. So if you're in the position where you're asking if something is worth it, you are not someone with disposable income. You're someone who's on a budget. I would suggest never buying something that you're not 100% sure of. And you should never listen to someone else tell you whether something is worth it or not, because they are not you. You can literally go watch streams of people playing a video game and make a educated decision on your own if something is worth it for you. You can watch people play a game these days. I didn't get to do that when I was a kid. I had to look at the box art and go, does that look cool? Maybe read a PC Gamer interview. There wasn't the internet. I couldn't watch people stream games. But these days, you can watch people play games and make that decision on your own. So, use the big brain that you was given. Go watch some streams and then decide, is that game worth it for you or not? Nope, really old gamer. You should never be relying on someone else's opinions, ever, to make purchases with your hard-earned money. You can use people's streams and reviews and discussions to help you make an educated decision, but you should never be relying on those people to tell you whether or not you should spend the money. And if you are, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Very sorry. I really want to play Crimson Desert, but I'm going to wait for a discount. I have a huge enough backlog. There you go. I personally don't recommend this game to people if you don't have $70 to burn. There are so many other games you can play. But some people want to play it despite the jank. And that's why I say, watch my streams. Watch other people's streams. After you've watched 5 or 6 people play a stream of this game and you have many different people giving you their opinion, you can then take that information. You've done your due diligence. And then you can go, you know what? This person said it's good. This person said it's bad. I don't think I like the look of the puzzles, but I do like the look of the combat. I don't like the look of fishing, but I do like the look of crafting and harvesting. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and make the purchase. That's called making an educated consumer decision based on market research and due diligence. But instead, you've got people who are like, Renfail, will you please tell me if I should buy this game or not? Dude. I'm never going to do that. No. I don't know if you need to buy diapers for your kid this month and you're asking me whether you should spend your kid's money on a video game or not. I have no idea if you have disposable income. I have no idea how hard you worked for that $70. I don't know if $70 for you is half of your monthly salary because you live in a place like Argentina or the Philippines where money is worth something different. I am not arrogant enough to think that I have the right to tell someone how to spend their money. Holy shit. Can you imagine the balls you've got to have to sit there and tell someone, yeah, man, you should buy this game. Totally buy this game. It's totally worth it. Like the balls you have to have? I certainly don't. Nope. I can give you reviews and I can give you my opinions, but you need to do that sort of due diligence on your own. All right.
Who are you? Never seen you before.
You'll never see me again either, you crazy masked children. Creepy little forest nuggets.
I've got everything set what I've done, and there's a fair bit I don't.
Well, at least he's honest.
Enjoying the day?
Even if you value someone's opinion, I'll give you an example of this. I love my brother. I can give you an even better example. I love my wife. But let's use my wife and my brother as examples because I love them both and I trust both of these people implicitly. I trust both of these people with my life. My younger brother and my wife. These are two people in my life that I trust implicitly. Just because I trust them with my life does not mean I am going to blindly follow whatever advice they give me. If my wife says, "Oh my God, I loved this fish that we had at this restaurant. I loved the fish at this restaurant." Now she knows that I'm not a fish fanatic like she is. I do like fish, not all fish. I do enjoy fish sometimes. Now my wife knows this, so her telling me, "I really loved the fish. I think you should try this." I trust this woman with my life. But she knows and I know that I don't like fish. So her recommending a fish dish to me is a sign that she really enjoyed it, which is a sign that I might enjoy it. Might. But I don't know if I'm going to enjoy that fish because I don't like fish the same way she likes fish. My brother loves to drink beer. I am not a huge beer drinker. I do like beer sometimes. More of a wine guy. But I do like beer sometimes. And sometimes my brother and I have the same tastes on beers. But he often drinks. His go-to is Coors. I'm not a Coors guy. So when my brother goes to me and says, "Dude, I really loved this beer. I think you should try it," I can look at my brother and go, he might be right. I might like that beer, but I might not like that beer. Right? So just because someone is an individual that you trust doesn't mean that their opinion on something is going to matter for you. You're never going to know until you stick that piece of fish in your mouth or you take a swig of that beer if it's something that you're going to like. And that's the risk you have to take with video games, or seeing a movie at the theater, or watching a TV show for the first time, or picking up a book by an author you've never read before because someone else said that you might like it. You have to be willing to take the risk. You should never be blindly relying on people, especially people on the internet you've never fucking met. None of you have ever met me. I have a lot of people in my community who are here every single day. I know their usernames. Some of them I know their real names. Some of them I've seen pictures of. Some of them I've seen stream video games. I've never met these people in my real life. Why the fuck are you trusting people on the internet that you've never met? Why? Can you use that information to help you make an educated decision? Absolutely. That's called doing your due diligence. Market research, right? But blindly relying on someone because you trust them? No, sir. No. No, sir. Not my house. Not my house. Justin C. Short says, my mom told me I was going to love deep fried chicken liver, and I think that's where my trust in issues began. Dude, you're going to love these peas. They're delicious, I promise. Like when people told me I was going to like frog legs. JK says, also, if you're allergic to peanuts, are you going to eat them anyway if a food critic you respect says they're great? It says they are great and you can eat them? There are some, like, It's an issue in the modern society where we have people who live their entire lives based off of what influencers are telling them to do. It's unfortunate. Hey, those pictures were only meant for you. I know, right? Sorry. Well, I'm glad you're looking forward to playing this game, Mistaken. Go forth and have fun. That's the most important thing you can do in life. Man, we're getting some bangers today out of chat. Thank you for that, guys. Alyssa says, hey, hey. And I say, hey, hey. Hey, it's for horses. Waltz says you're making my work morning so much better. Well, that is my day job, Waltz. I am an entertainer by trade. He's got turnips and maters for sale. Great example. My wife loves turnips. I only like turnips. So, we both love tomatoes, though.
Enjoying the day? Interested in anything else?
My wife hands me a big old bowl of turnips and says, you're going to love these. And I look at her with a cocked eyebrow and say, really? Really, I'm going to love these. These things that taste like dirt. Uh-huh. Sure.
Oh, I'm all out of rosemary.
I do like turnips when they have salt and lime. And with, like, tacos de pastor.
A haircut, you said? Many of our villagers are ill and wary of strangers.
You've never had a Brussels sprout? Oh,
Still,
Brussels
a quick
sprouts.
trim might help
See?
put them
This
more
is a
at
perfect
ease.
example. I love Brussels
If your
sprouts.
friend's
I
intentions
can't
are
guarantee that
sincere,
you're going to like
they
Brussels
will open
sprouts.
their hearts.
But I will say, there are many different ways to eat Brussels sprouts. Not all of them are the same. Like, for example, if you boil Brussels sprouts, not my favorite way to eat them. But they are okay, dipped in a little bit of mayonnaise. My favorite way to eat Brussels sprouts is you take them, and you cut them in half, you lay them open, and you first wash them, cut them open, lay them in a thing, and in a pan, get some garlic, some onions, and some bacon going. And once your bacon's about halfway to the way that you liked it cooked, chuck those Brussels sprouts in there and mix them up as the bacon and the garlic and the onions continue to cook. And then when you're done, you've got some nice crispy bacon, some delicious garlic and onions to go alongside those Brussels sprouts. Sprinkle them with salt. Ah, chef's kiss. Succulent Chinese meal.
It's rude to stare?
But that's the thing, like, I might love Brussels sprouts, and I can rant and rave about Brussels sprouts on my channel, and then you
So
try it
rude.
one day, and you put it in your mouth, and you're like, what? Renfail lied. He told me that Brussels sprouts were amazing. I trusted him. These taste like dog shit. And that's why you should never listen to an influencer tell you that something
Yes, what is it?
is for you. Because until you stick it in your mouth and try it, you're
What
never
is
going to
it?
know. Why would I ruin bacon like that? Bacon makes everything better.
Don't think to speak to me.
All right. I need to find a bed to rest in. So that I can have it not be dark when I meander my way back. Canned asparagus with mayonnaise on it? Alright, that sounds a little... I like asparagus, but canned asparagus sounds a little funky, man. Canned asparagus. Wow. I think the only time I've done like a canned veggie is like I have done canned artichoke hearts to put into like an artichoke spinach dip. because it's really hard to get artichoke hearts otherwise. So you could just get them in a can. Never craft a one-handed sword at a smithy. I can do that. Craft a bow at a smithy. I can do that too. Are those tied to the same one? They are tied to the same one. I could do both of those though. I'm playing this on the PS5 Pro. I have had flawless performance on both quality mode and performance mode, with the exception of the really big boss fights. Like yesterday on stream, I was quite irritated because the performance was horrible, even on performance mode. I was a little grumpy yesterday, but it was also a massive fight with hundreds of NPCs on screen. Fought at night with torches and fires burning all around us. It was obviously a huge draw because of all the lighting that was going on. But those are I like 3-4 moments out of an 85-hour playthrough so far, so I would say that other than that, it runs flawlessly on the PS5 Pro. Canned spinach and vinegar. I do love... Did that timer just start, I wonder? Or how does that work? Or maybe you have to start from a place. I don't know how that works. Interesting. That was like a ride from one place to another place in 40 minutes. Yeah, we're a cabbage family here too. We love all sorts of cabbages. And we probably do cabbage every week. I think we do cabbage in some shape or form. Canned tomatoes? I don't think I've ever used canned tomatoes for anything. That's not true. I have made technically. So when I make, I don't make my red sauce from scratch. So I guess I am using. It's tomato puree, right? I don't make that from scratch. So technically that's canned or in a box. You know. I think that was the cross-country challenge. I don't know if it starts the moment I pick that thing up or how it works. I'm not doing it, so right now I'm going to start chopping down trees. Can I chop down these big old... Nope. Can't chop that tree! Fucking thing, just chop the tree down. Poor kitty cat. I'm sorry. Did you get squished? That one is not able to be chopped. Pick it all up, Mr. Kitty. You got time. Those. These are set dressing because I can't chop them. Interesting. Oh, I don't remember the name of it. But it's a quest where you have to. It's like, I don't think it's just. I can't remember the name of it, to be honest with you, but it's one of the ones where you have to go, like, attack a fortress. It was the one that had Cassius something as the boss mob. I can't remember the name of the quest though. But that whole adventure, that was a 3-hour fight to take out that encampment. Like it's a full-on 3-hour mission. Like, because there are so many, and I'm not the only person. Like everybody who's done that says it takes about 2.5 to 3 hours. Now you can obviously save the game. So if you need to go away and run errands, go to work, you can come back and finish it the next session. But it is a 2.5 to 3 hour event to clear that castle and get to the boss fight. Yeah, that was one of my least favorite moments of the game so far. Like, it's 3 hours of just holding down the R1 button and killing swaths of enemies before you eventually get to a boss mob that I finished on the first try. It was like, I did all of that for this? Really? Come on. They made you work for it. But I can't remember the name of that quest though. That was like a week ago probably. But I do remember the boss fight at the end of it. It was the one with Cassius. Oh, yeah, well, technically it's taking more than one chop to get the firewood, because I have to chop. I gotta do 2 chops to chop it down. It might be less if I would upgrade my axe. Then we do a 3rd chop. And then we have to do 3 more chops, so it's like 6 chops. But I know what you're talking about. Like, the one chop just cuts it into firewood. It's like, I am a mighty lumberjack. I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay. I sleep all night and I work all day. I cut down trees, I make my lunch. I go to the lava tree. On Wednesdays I go shopping and I've bottled scones for tea. He cuts down trees, he eats his lunch. He goes to the lava tree. On Wednesdays he goes shopping and has bottled scones for tea. If you know the rest, sing along, kids. I haven't watched that in years. I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay. Sleep all night and I work all day. I cut down trees, I skip and jump. I like to press wildflowers. I put on women's clothing and hang around in bars. He cuts down trees, he skips and jumps. He likes to press wildflowers. He puts on women's clothing and hangs around in bars. He's a lumberjack and he's okay. Monty Python had some of the best. A lot of it is so not gonna fly in today's society, but goddamn, some funny shit that snowflakes of today just can't handle. It's offensive! What the hell is over here? It's like a red dot. And I don't know what we're looking at. Some sort of enemy? Huh. It's like right here, and I don't know what it is. It's got to be a bug, man. The argument clinic. Oh, I'd like to have an argument. No, you wouldn't. What are the requirements to do the haircut mission? Do you have to do quest lines for the camp? You do. You have to progress the camp, do all the quest lines for the camp, do your favors for the Greymanes. You have to do all that stuff to progress the camp. Can you save anywhere? For the most part, you can save anywhere. I think there are examples of, like, if you're in the middle of like a conversation or a cutscene, you can't save. I don't know that I've ever tried to save in the middle of a boss fight. Probably you cannot, because they give you the Palmar pills to revive. So I would doubt you can. I've never tried it though. But I also know the save system does not work like a traditional save system. So you can't like save this. So this game doesn't work where you like save the game and it's saving right where you're standing. What you're doing is you're saving your state, but when you load back in, it loads you at the most recent checkpoint. Well, you know what they say, only boring people get bored. The other thing they say is if something is boring, you should go do something else. I certainly don't like to sit around and twiddle my thumbs. I find twiddling my thumbs to be incredibly boring. So do I sit around and twiddle my thumbs? Fuck no, I don't sit around and twiddle my thumbs. I go around and twiddle your mom. Because that's far more enjoyable to me. And the lesson to learn here, kids, is that if something is boring, that's on you. Go do something else. There is no reason to sit there and do something that you find boring. Don't like a video game? Play something else. Don't like the movie? Go watch something else. Don't like movies in general? That's fine. Go learn how to fish, paint miniatures, read a book, write a book, travel the world. Do something that interests you and makes you happy. Don't do things that other people claim are going to make you happy. Do what makes you happy. Do I like people's moms? I certainly like your mom. That's for sure. But let her know she doesn't have to pay me next time. I'll definitely give her a freebie on the house. Oh, Pixar, it didn't happen? That's what the OF account is for, kids. Oh, you thought this was my only source of income? When you save, it's like saving the progress you have done, but then it loads you at a checkpoint. Correct. The exception to that, however, is it doesn't save puzzle progress when you're in the abyss. So even though technically yes, also technically no, which is why the save system in this game leaves a lot to be desired. $20 is $20, you're damn right. $20 is $20. Alyssa says, I enjoy open world exploring and completing all side quests. There you go. You've just explained why most video games are fun for most people. Because you can do open worlds, you can go explore, you can complete side quests. Like what I'm doing right now, like I came down here to do a quest, but what I'm really doing is I'm looking for ore, and I'm harvesting because I need lots, and I mean lots of timber and ore to do upgrades for my gear, which I need to be able to face off against the boss mob who kicked my ass yesterday. So that's right, I'm always 10 steps ahead. I might not be as fat as Avocado Boy, but like him, I'm always 10 steps ahead. Remember when you could only save at checkpoints back in the 2000s, right, Trivrom? Is that a bear? Oh shit, I'm gonna go. Come here. Come here. Come here. Domain is unavailable. We're gonna go get a bear who's got large bones. I need to mark this dude on the map. Alright, come here. Oh, he got me. I can't see anything in those damn bushes. Come here. Leonardo DiCaprio. Paying attention to chat, not paying attention to the screen. I'm getting mauled by a grizzly kid. That is one of the worst scenes in a film I've ever seen, by the way. That was a terrifying scene. Even with the shield block, he's like, fuck you. There we go. Large bones, please. And that is why we're off wandering through the woods right now, because I need bones for my upgrades. Along with fangs. Yeah, I needed those for an upgrade as well. And looky here, there looks to be something back over here. Oh, we should also be checking for nearby teleportation stones or puzzles. Is that another bear up there? Holy shit. No, that might be a rock. I was going to say, if I just found 2 bears in a row... By the way, I need to remember where that bear is, because... Okay, just west of the Reedwind Valley. Perfect. I thought this was another bear, and that's just a big old rock. I don't see any ore over here, so... But the bear was a nice one, because those are harder to find. Now, I also have... How does this work? That is how... So, I understand now what people said about focused shot being really good for hunting. I understand that now, because you can literally focus fire and just like ping, 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 5 arrows in a row. Alyssa says, I remember when we used to have to save on memory cards. No space, no save. It's legit. This is legit. Like having to have a memory card for like your PlayStation 1. Yeah. And then you would literally have different memory cards for different things, and we would have the little plastic flip cases. And you would store your memory cards in those things. Ian says, or remember when you didn't have a memory card and you like so you had to beat the game in one go or come back to it later? Yeah, like when you had to rent games as an example. Do you know how to get into the elements? Yeah, you have to do the abyss puzzles. Or arcade games, like JK says, when you just played until the money ran out. Yeah, there were definitely some arcade games that, like Golden Axe, you couldn't beat in one go because you might not have the money to beat it the first time you went to the arcade. So you would play it, learn a portion of the game, and then you would come back and play it again the next week. and hope that you could beat it the next time, you know, and you would get a little bit farther. What the fuck? Just that boar took 10 arrows and still didn't die. Holy moly. And then he bugged out. Disc 1 and Disc 2. Oh yeah, or how about when people will complain about, like, what are the when this game came out, they used some sort of anti-cheat software, Denevo or something like that, right? And people were complaining about it, and I'm like, bitch, when I was a kid and I got a game, it would have like a paper disc, like, right? And on top of that paper disc, there would be this thing that you could turn, right? And it was like a codex, and there would be, like, in the game, before you could load up and play the game, you would see some symbols, or there would be something that would pop up on screen, and you would have to match the symbols using this little paper wheel codex thing that you would have to spin to, like, match the symbols to get the password to log in to be able to play the game, or to be able to get past a certain section of the game. And that was anti-piracy. So if you had pirated the game, you wouldn't have that little circle disc, and so you wouldn't be able to complete the game. It might let you get, you know, a couple hours into the game before it pops up one of these questions, or it might be before you could even play it. So if you bought a pirated version of the game off of some, you know, market square somewhere, you couldn't finish the game. People talking about, you know, anti-cheat software and complaining about, oh, I don't want to play this game because it's got this anti-cheat software on it. And it's like, back in my day, you had to have a codex in your hands to physically beat it. And if you didn't have that codex, you weren't playing the game. Oh, you've never heard about those, Ian Ashworth? Yeah, it wasn't for every game, but there were quite a few games I remember playing had, like, some sort of a physical thing. The other one would be they would put, like, a like, games. A lot of games used to come with, like, a manual, like a physical book, and there would be a section in that book that was answering the questions that would be asked on screen. So if you didn't have the manual, you couldn't answer the questions that were on screen, and you couldn't play the game. So you had to match the book with the game. Now that was a little easier to get through because people could get creative and, like, print out those portions of the book and fold it up and put that as a piece of paper inside when they would sell you the pirated copy. But yeah, lots of creative ways for the way they used to try to stop cheaters back in the day. The changing of the discs is something I distinctly remember because I started playing games when you played them on the 5-inch floppies, and then it moved to the 3.5-inch floppies. And I can remember when I played, it had to have been Quest for Glory 1 when they did the point-and-click version of that game, or maybe King's Quest 5. But I can distinctly remember when you would install the game, you would have to, you know, put in one disc, take it out, put in the next disc, and it was like one of those games that I played. I remember being 15 discs. It was 15 of those hard 3.5-inch floppies, and I remember thinking at the time, this is the biggest game I've ever played. Oh my god, this is a massive game. And if you look at the amount of data that actually those games, it was nothing. It was mere megabytes compared to, like, a game like this, which is 100 and I don't know how many gigs this game is. It just makes me laugh because back in the day, we used to think that a game having, you know, 15 3.5 floppies was this massive thing. And it was for the time. Oh, yeah, I remember when my mom would take us one of the biggest things for my brother and I when we were very young was when we would go to Sears and JCPenney's with my mom, because Sears and JCPenney's both had Nintendos and Segas set up to play games. So you could, you know, and they were, you know, you could just, it was whatever game was installed, you know, it would be like Mario Brothers on the Nintendo, or you might be, it was like you didn't get to choose the game that you were going to play. You were just, you were going to play whatever game was being demoed on the machine. And I remember that was a big deal for my brother and I, because it'd be like, Mom, we're going to Sears today. Fuck yeah, we're going to get to play the Nintendo for 10 minutes or something while she's checking out at the cashier's stand, you know. Do I recommend Lotro? I 100% recommend Lotro. Lotro is a great game. It's free to play. You have nothing to lose by trying it out. Go forth and enjoy. It's dated as fuck, but it's a fun game. And there are no other Lord of the Rings MMOs out, so go play it. It's the only one that's out there. Another bear! Dude, I need to come back to this place. Oh, he still got me. He was like, fuck you. Oh! Dude, I gotta come back here and hunt bears again, because this is the second bear I found. Oh, it's... Skin it! Damn it! Hell to the yes. Alright, let's see if there's any puzzles or teleporters around us. Nope. When did you try to play, Gene? Rubber banding was definitely an issue back on the old servers, but they moved to 64-bit servers last year, or the year before. I think it was the year before. I think the year before they started testing, and last year they finalized, and everybody's on 64-bit servers now. There haven't been any rubber banding issues for about a year now, because they finally upgraded all their servers to 64-bit servers. You probably tried before the server changes then. Considering it's free to play, Gene, I would say if you're game for it, you should maybe try out again on one of the new servers, because the rubber banding is gone now with the new servers. But totally understandable if you don't want to waste your time. That was definitely an issue that I've been playing that game since it came out. I love Lord of the Rings Online, but yeah, the old servers were a thing. We used to all complain about it. It was like rubber banding was annoying as fuck. There is something down there. There it is. Come on, pick it up, dumbass. God, sometimes when his sword is out, he won't pick things up. Heal allies using force palm healing. Okay. Thanks for the Twitch sub, Ishi. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's a big rumor right now, Justin. It'll be interesting to see if it becomes truth or not. I think the rumor is because the Embracer Group owns Middle Earth Enterprises, and they also are a partial owner of Warner Studios. So that is a rumor. If it turns out to be true, though, I will say that whatever, if that turns out to be true, holy shit, is that going to be an awesome game? If that turns out to be true. All right, there is something down there. Okay, it's right down there. That is a teleportation pad. Perfect.
Yeah.
Twitch is the same username. Yep. Perfect time for me to remind everybody we are always live on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and TikTok. You can watch where you prefer. I've been full-time on YouTube for 4.5 years now. Not quite 4.5 years. A little over 4. We're in our 5th year right now. We've been doing Twitch for 2.5 years. We just added Kick and Instagram to the live streams in November. Everything in between the streams happens on YouTube. I do a lot of game guides, game reviews, movie reviews, TV show reviews, discussion videos, Let's Play episodes, and of course all the VODs if you miss any of the streams. There's also a Discord, a Patreon, a merch store, an Amazon store for my books, and there's a Homestead channel if you like ducks and chickens and cats and shit. I'm going to go take a break, so while I'm on my break, you should all go over to YouTube and follow along and hit up the Discord while we're at it. And I'll be back in 5 to 10 with more coffee. And yes, we have a lot of Starfield coming in the pipeline, including our PS5 new player guides, which are going out every single day, including this morning. I'll be back in a few. All right, we're back. Thanks for the membership over on YouTube at Raven Valkyrie. Welcome aboard. There are no confirmations at all about Warhorse building a Lord of the Rings game. It is rumored and nothing more. Embracer, the Embracer group, has not made a statement. Warhorse has not made a statement. All we've seen is like insider information, and I believe DSM was just saying that. So no, it's not true. It is rumored, which is why I said, if the rumors are true, I will play the shit out of that game, but it's just a rumor. We don't know what they're working on next, other than the fact that it's likely to not be a Kingdom Come Deliverance game, because they specifically said at the end of when the last patch for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 came out, they said, this is the end of Henry's journey. Thank you so much for being here with us since the Kickstarter. So, yeah. Man, I went outside with Lucas to go chase lizards, and now I'm like, I got, like, fucking mosquitoes and dirt in my hair and everything else. Yeah, Henry's story is done, so whatever they're working on next is not going to be a Kingdom Come Deliverance game. I have no idea what game this is, Seaspirit 121. I'm way too fucking stupid to know how to do something like click the title of the stream, check the category of the stream. I'm way too stupid for any of that, so sorry. I cannot figure that kind of shit out. That's way beyond my pay grade. I just play the games. I don't know what the fuck they are. By the way, this is one of my favorite views in the game. Dribrom says, check out Discord, I crafted something. Well, damn it. I gotta go check out what he crafted. Managed to craft my wildlife camouflage suit. Dude, I like the helmet. Like a barrel. With your eyes peeking out. That's funny shit, man. I can't remember what I'm playing this on, JK. Yeah, that's one of those things where when you get older like I do, your memory starts to fail. I can't remember what platforms I'm playing on. Can't remember what the names of the games I'm playing are. Button combinations, what? You can sneak up on animals to get within melee range using that. That's cool. I have not seen any ore at all in any of these mountains, so I'm gonna have to go somewhere else for ore hunting, I think.
What's it got in its pockets? Lightning is what I've got in my pockets, bitch! A little zing, a little zang, a little bang bang bam.
And that's how you take care of a pack of bandits. Nothing in the wind on the horizon. apple trees. What happened here?
What's the matter with you?
Huh. Like a bunch of balloons or tent things falling down. Even the base PS5, the views in this game are amazing. I agree. Like, even, like, I played the first 50 hours or so in quality mode before I moved to performance mode. And honestly, the only thing I've noticed being different is the textures are a little less wet looking when it rains and stuff. Otherwise, the game looks phenomenal, even on performance mode. Raven says, I just reached chapter 3 on this game. I'm really starting to get hooked, even though I didn't enjoy the start. The open world is incredible. Yeah. I will say the open world aspect of this game and the exploration is my favorite part. I may dislike huge swaths of this game, but the exploration and the ability to be like, you see that over there? You see that? I can go to that. I don't know what it is. It looks cool. It's something on the horizon. I can go to that and see what it is. I have just not found anything else that I've liked enough to put on because of stats. And so I just kept upgrading this along the way. I will say that yesterday during the stream, I finally faced off against a boss encounter after 85 hours of the game or whatever. Where I was not able to defeat the boss on the first try. He was using a ton of lightning damage, and I have no lightning resists on this gear. And so, the question is, do I go farm resist stones, or do I try to find gear that has lightning resist on it before I face off against that boss? But otherwise, this armor, I'm 85 hours into the game, and I have used this armor the entire way. And never once have I felt challenged by a boss until yesterday. Like, I have done the whole journey in this armor. I have upgraded it along the way. All of my armor is rank 6, with the exception of the cloak, because I still haven't found any ivory. DSM says, plus it's not a loot game. It's possible to have the same gear at the end that you started with if you keep upgrading your gear and weapons. Correct. So I've just been upgrading everything, and it has served me well. I apparently do not hold on to the cliff. Ah! No! What are you doing, numbnuts? Do the double jump. Let's do the double jump again. Thank you. Alright, we are getting into ore territory now, so I'm going to start hugging these cliff lines. Looking for more ore. I would love a transmog system. I would also love to be able to turn off this stupid fucking helmet and show Cliff's face. Oh, copper, copper, copper. Am I at the bottom? I am not at the bottom. No! Oh, I'm gonna have to use the miner drill bit thingy on that one. Alright. Oh, maybe not. There we go. By the way, where's my kitty cat, who's supposed to be around here, like, looting for me? Says he's summoned, but he's not here. Yeah, it's not the same thing though, Dribble. I really, really want my helmet. I've never checked. Hold that thought, because I'm also wearing a mask. Hold on. Does his mustache disappear? How do I do this? I gotta go into armor, and I go over here, and I do something. I don't remember what it is. Yes, my Cliff does not have a mustache. The helmet definitely removes the mustache. I'm a beardless Cliff. Smooth as a baby's arse. You've been petting animals and the day after they are at 0 again? That's weird. No, Sky, I have never played a game that has harvesting as good as New World. To this day, I think New World has the best, or I should say had, because it's a dead game now. New World harvesting was the best harvesting I have ever seen in a video game, period. Online, offline, single player, multiplayer, hands down, the best harvesting I have ever seen in a video game was New World. And it's very sad, because no game has come close to that. This game has some of the worst harvesting I've ever seen, because of how many manual steps you have to go through to get a piece of ore out of a fucking rock, and then pick it up. Now, I will say that the upgrade to the drill bit does allow me to now, if I'm in a position where I can use the drill bit. However, oftentimes these are in a place where I can't get to them with the drill bit. But the drill bit does have this thing now where when I use it, it automatically like puts the ore straight into my inventory. But I can't always use that because a lot of the times I'm on these cliff walls where I can't like. Here I can. But then I fall. Ooh, is that a teleporter that I haven't found? Looky there. Wait, do I already have that one? I guess I already have that one. Can I explain the aiming? No, it's self-explanatory. Like the game tells you, like point, I mean, I don't know what to explain. If it's red, there's nothing there. If it's blue, it's something you can harvest. Same thing with the trees. I guess my annoyance comes from the fact that I have to manually go pick up the stuff when every other game I play automatically picks up the stuff. Like, it auto loots the things when you harvest them, right? And I find it annoying that it won't automatically pick things up, that I have to manually do it. So like here, this isn't going to let me mine it with this thing because, but I can get this one because it went blue for a split second. So when it's blue, you'll be able to mine it. The other ones, however, I'm going to have to probably use my force thingy on. So I'm going to hit the wrong button is what I'm going to do. But I just find this to be incredibly manually tedious. It's a personal thing. It's just like I don't like the fishing in this game. Mount, blast, boom. It all fell down. Now I have to manually pick it all up. Now, sometimes my cat is here, and sometimes my cat will pick it up, but not always. And like this one is going to be exceptionally a pain in the ass to get to, because I can't blast it like that. So I'm going to have to use my charge ability, focused force palm, aim it, and then turn around and drop down and pick up all the ore wherever it fell off to. Which I don't even see it at the moment. So thumbs down to the harvesting in Crimson Desert. It's a necessary evil. Oh, you think the pet cat will gather it for you, Sarnas? You think it will. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. What does that tell me right there? Can you read what that says? Oh, well, if you're watching horizontal or vertical, you won't be able to see that. That says that my ashen cat is summoned. Where is my cat? Where is my cat? Can anybody tell me where my cat is? My cat is nowhere to be found. It says that he's summoned, but he sure as fuck ain't here, which means he sure as shit ain't picking up the ore. So no, your cat will not automatically pick things up for you all the time. A lot of the times, the cat is nowhere to be found, even though he says that he's summoned. Again, buggy game that needs a lot of polish. In the recent patch notes, they said, we fixed... I don't think they said fix. I think they said we worked on making the cat be more available and not disappear so frequently, but he still disappears all the fucking time. Says that he's summoned, he's not summoned. So again, the worst game I've ever had fun playing. Because I do have a lot of fun playing this game, but there's some aspects of this game that I just am like, ah! And I bitch about them every stream. And I'm sure some people are like, would you just shut up and play the game? But I'm like, no. I have too much fun complaining about things and farming that content out for TikTok and Instagram because it gets rage bait views. And I've got a bunch of angry people who say, all you do is hate on this game. Yes, I hate it so much I have next to 90 hours in it. That's how much I hate it. Alright, go down a little bit. Come on, you fucker. Like this, trying to harvest this shit right here. There we go. Now let's go up and do it again. Maybe I can get a twofer? Nope. now I gotta drop down and try to find where all those nuggets went. And try to harvest them without accidentally jumping, because the highlight button doesn't work for shit sometimes. And there is some iron ore, which I need. Just like cats in real life. The cat's busy playing Starfield. He's hyped for the upcoming patch. I appreciate it, Alyssa. I do. It's funny to me because people will accuse me of glazing games like Starfield. It's like, oh, I don't glaze Starfield. Like, we literally did 2 videos yesterday on Starfield where we complained about the repetitive POIs. I absolutely will critique. Even my favorite games, I will critique. I have never claimed Starfield is my a flawless game. I've said it is my favorite Bethesda game, but not once have I ever said that it is a flawless game. I have critiqued it a bunch. I make fun of Bethesda games all the time for, like, you'll be talking to an NPC and another NPC will walk in between you and, like, turn to face you and look at you with that blank-eyed stare and, like, interrupt your conversation. I will critique that shit till the cows come home. Doesn't make it a worse game. It's jank. And I'll talk about it. Just like this game has jank, and I will talk about it. This game happens to have more jank than Starfield because this game just launched. Starfield had a lot more jank when it launched. Skyrim had a boatload of jank when it launched, and it has gone on to become one of the most beloved games of all times. But Skyrim at launch was a janky piece of shit. Ask anybody who played Skyrim at launch. Sorry, did someone just... hang on. Where did that go in chat? Your cat is busy playing PS5. 5. Ah, that's a good one. He was a good kitty cat. PS5. That's brilliant. That is brilliant. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, he's too busy playing the PS5. Oh, gosh, that's awesome. Oh, that's good. Alright, where did all this ore go, man? Hey, it dropped it right on top of a copper node. Pick it up, dumbass. There's literally... there it is. God. Gotta turn the camera. Cliff can't figure out what where the ore is unless he turns the camera the right way. Not only did we see the new Free Lanes video last night, we reacted to the new Free Lanes video last night. I didn't really have too many problems playing Skyrim over the holidays, Susanok. I hear people claim that it still has lots of bugs. I didn't run into anything on my Xbox Series X playthrough. Anniversary Edition over the holidays, I didn't run into any bugs. Charged shot can blow up ore? What do you mean? Do I even have charged shot? I have focused shot. Yeah, that just... What is charged shot? That must be a skill I don't have. Where do you even find focused shot, focused charge shot, focused evasive shot, focused charged shot? No. That's not it either. What is charged shot? I don't even see charged shot. Maybe it's something I don't have yet. Marksmanship. Oh, I don't have it yet. That's why. Charged shot. Hold R2 while aiming to charge a shot. So you can mine with charged shot? Well, shit. I mean, that's cool. It also doesn't fix the fact that mining... So mining is so fundamentally fucked and broken that we have to use charged shot to get around it being so broken and janky as fuck. Sorry, not sorry. Well, I'm definitely going to go get charged shot as soon as I get a point that I'm free to spend. Oh, by the way, I should also check... Nope, nothing around here. Copper up there. Nope. Come here, little buddy. Nope! You fucker! There's a copper ore there you need to loot. Get up there and get it. God damn it! Just fucking... Rah! Camera angle says, no, we don't want to let you grab that piece of copper ore that's just sitting there in the nook on the side of the cliff. Are those bad guys? Oh, you fucker. I'm literally right at it. Looking right at it. I'm looking right fucking at it. Lioncrest Banner Archery Field. You can observe and learn the skill for free. Alright, I will try to remember to do that as soon as I'm done here. Because this is getting super hyper fucking annoying. I'm literally looking right at it and my dinghy's not doing the thingy. Yes, I agree. Anything that you mine or chop should go to the automatic inventory.
You're dead. Just
Alright, I see one more node up ahead. And then I know I have an abyss fragment I can get by. I need to craft I think it was a long sword and a bow. There's the nugs. Nope, we got something down over here. It's one of those. I already have that one, don't I? I don't know. It's acting like it's an undiscovered thing. I'm not gonna make it. Oh, I am gonna make it. You fucker! Actually, it's acting like it's over here. But it is pointing me up.
Never laid eyes on berries as plump as elderberries.
Alright, what do we got over here? It is a teleporter. How did I not have this one? Oh, no, there's a... Okay, I did have this teleporter, but it's also find and apprehend the outlaw. That's why I was like, wait, I thought I already had this one. Apparently, there could be an outlaw down there. Which I don't care about right now. Let's, where are we? We're reasonably close to camp. I know I've got a, crafting thing I can do. Lion Crest Manor. I need to remember to go there. Lion Crest Manor. If you are using mods, then yes, the update is going to break your mods. That's what happens every time there is a update for any Bethesda game. And no, that is not a Bethesda problem. That is a problem with the mod teams who have to wait for the update to come out and then update all of their mods to work with the new version of the game. So if you are a mod heavy player, yes, the update is going to break all your shit. Yes, it's going to break all your shit. For sure. But if you're playing vanilla like I do, the update doesn't break anything. And you could just go play the game and have fun doing so. Alright, somewhere in here... Does this show me what they are? I gotta go to my journal. Challenges. Which ones are the ones... No, those are the abyss things. Which are the ones... Where are these at? What are these under? Huh. How do I find the sanctums? Seriously, how do I find... Oh, I think it's under these things, but that one was a crafting one. How do I find... Yeah, so these are the ones, but it totally gave me one to like craft. And I don't know where to find that. Here it is. It's under life. Okay, it's just a weird category to put it under. You can find all of the boss fights that I've done over on YouTube. I bet. I've only done main bosses up through chapter 6. I've not done any chapter 7 or beyond bosses. So any of the main bosses of the game up through chapter 6 I have fought, completed, and those boss fight videos are up on YouTube. But I have not done any optional bosses, nor have I done any chapter 7 or beyond bosses. Alright, I need to craft a one-handed sword and a bow. One-handed sword.
I don't know what I mean, Will.
You've found the finest blacksmith in Piewell.
Is that a one-handed sword? That is a one-handed sword. Make now. Okay. Now I need to make bow. I thought the drill boss was part of the main quest. Because you have to clear the quarry. Well, okay. Technically, you're not wrong. The quarry quest is not a main quest. It is a camp quest, which I consider to be a main quest. But you're not wrong. It's not like part of the chapter quests. So I have done one non-main quest. Oh, we were missing the audios for that.
Want some? Take good care of your gear.
Boop, 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 boop. There it is. Okay.
Want something custom made? You just tell me what you need.
Okay. I think I still want to upgrade my... Where's my sword? Can I not do my sword yet? Why not? I need bloodstone. Let's go see if I've got additional bloodstones to buy. Because I would rather upgrade my main weapon before anything else at this point.
Care for a drink?
A man's gear can be his saving grace.
Do you got bloodstones? No, and why not? Because he needs to refresh? Or what the fuck?
A man's gear can be his saving grace. Or his downfall. Time flies with a hammer in your hand. If you need gear,
time does fly when you've got your hammer in your hand, sir. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Want something custom made? You just tell me what you need.
Oh my goodness. There were definitely issues. I remember when Shattered Space went live, there were definitely some mods that broke So I would expect there to be mods that break when the Terran Armada DLC goes live and Free Lanes comes. And that's just normal. I mean, if I could only play one game for the rest of my life, what would it be? Nothing that's currently released, Morpheo. But I'll tell you what, if someone could make a hyper-realistic Star Wars game or a hyper-realistic Lord of the Rings game where, you know, if Lord of the Rings Online or Star Wars The Old Republic could manage to exist with continually updating graphics, right, that always stay current, I would easily play either one or both of those for the rest of my life because I love Middle Earth and I love Star Wars. So those two worlds, I'm such a huge fan of those two worlds in particular that I would happily spend the rest of my life only playing those games. But the caveat would be that they have to have, yeah, like a virtual reality Star Wars or a virtual reality Middle Earth. Yeah, exactly, JK. Or Star Trek. I would do any of those. Like, if you could put me in those worlds and it's virtual reality, meaning that the graphics are always current, I would happily do that. All right, I'm going to be right back, everybody. My wife is up. I want to go say good morning, and then we'll be back to do some crafting really quick.
You've
Some
stopped by
refinement.
if ever you miss the ringing of my hammer.
Be back in a few. Alright. We are back. I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay. I'm gonna be singing the lumberjack song all day today. No. Holy crap. My goodness. People's hungry for more Starfield. Those PS5 beginners guides videos are doing exceptionally well. I had a record. By the way, guys, I haven't done an analytics report since January. We just got our income report for March because everything finalized yesterday. March was a record year. It wasn't our biggest. I didn't mean to say year. March was our biggest month of 2026 financially, and it is, I think, in our top. I would need to go back and look at the numbers, but I think it's in our top. I think it's our number 2 biggest month of all time. I think it's either number 2 or number 3, and it is a combination of Starfield and Crimson Desert stuff. March was a very good month for the channel. But no one likes Starfield. No one wants to play Starfield. Starfield's a dead game. Okay. You keep telling yourself that. You keep telling yourself that. Oh my goodness. I also have 3 more guides have already been pre-recorded and are uploaded to YouTube and will be coming out. We'll do 1 more probably this evening, and we'll have 2 more coming out tomorrow. Plus, we're going to be back streaming more Starfield today, this afternoon after I run errands. And we will continue to work our way towards the PS5 launch on Tuesday. Wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. Wheels on the bus go round and round. It cancels out the other songs. There you go, Gray. My other favorite is this is the song that doesn't end. Yes, it goes on and on, my friends. Some people started singing it, not knowing what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because this is the song that doesn't end. And if you don't know who Lamb Chops is, I'm so sorry. Lamb Chops was awesome. She was an awesome human being. Goddamn, do I miss her. Well, I guess let's look at stuff that requires large bones and stuff first. I think I'm going to go plate armor. That's going to give me the most bang for my buck. Although, the gloves are giving me attack and defense. That might be a bigger bang. You know what, though? I need to look at all this stuff. Needs to be upgraded, damn it. I still have not found ivory or fleece. I'm going to have to go look because I really need to upgrade my cloak. Those are all rank 6. I need to bring stuff up to rank. Let's do. Fuck. I'm only getting 1 defense out of the shield. That feels kind of lame, to be honest with you. Like, I'm getting 2 out of almost all of the other upgrades, but that shield only wants to give me 1. Fuck it. Susanok, shoot the bad guys. Fly around, listen to Sarah complain. That's all you need to remember. Yeah, I haven't found any massive stat differences at all, Morpheo, between the shields. And of course, I don't have any Abyss artifacts,
You've
so I
found
might have...
Come see me if you need something repaired.
Let's go turn in.
Sorry, I was lost in thought.
I hope they know I mean well.
Why can I not inform the barber? I'm standing right in front of his ass. Tell of the permission to visit the town.
Sorry, I can't help you right now.
What the fuck is wrong with you? I'm standing right in front of you. And I cannot inform him. Oh, I can over here. If I'm standing in front of... See, this is another example of a, like, the game lacking fundamental polish. Like, I can interact... So here's the thing. The game will let me interact with him from any angle, right? But I cannot inform him of things if I'm standing right in front of his fucking face. I have to be standing in front of his desk, but not in front of him. That is the stupidest sub-requirement. So they've got a... If I had to guess, they have a frontal cone here, wherein which you are allowed to interact with for the purposes of inform. And if you are outside of that cone, that's the stupidest thing ever. It should be a 360-degree thing that you can interact with him. Because you can interact... The barber shop... Look at the barber shop. The barber shop can be done from any angle. Right? You could be a 360 on the barber shop. But the inform? Nope. It's got to be a very specific angle, kid. It's got to be right here.
I see. Well, I'm glad they're willing to accept me. A haircut may only change one's appearance, yet it can lift the spirit. Because of you, I can give them a fleeting moment of happiness.
Hashtag
I'll head there once
stupid
I'm ready.
shit. Shiny coming in. We're 11 months of membership saying I have over 25,000 cannonballs in Fallout ammo. Liking that double barrel blast machine, huh? I almost played Fallout 76 this morning, by the way, guys. Almost. Because I was kind of fed up with Crimson Desert yesterday. And I literally sat here for about 20 minutes this morning going, should I stream Crimson Desert or should I stream something else? And I eventually just said, fuck it. I'm going to log on and I'm not going to touch any quests. All I'm going to do is go gather materials today. And that way I'm not frustrated. But then I see shit like that and I get frustrated anyway. Because it's like, why the fuck can't I interact with him from any angle? Rah! Thanks for the channel renewal, Shiny, and I'm very glad that you're having so much fun in Fallout 76. It is a good game. More people need to play it. Anybody who says that it sucks has never played it. Or they haven't played it since launched. Because it did kind of suck at launch. But they've made it really, really good over time with lots of updates. Oh, I'll definitely be back. I keep it installed on my Xbox. All right, guys. You want to see some trolling this morning? This is a hidden comment on my YouTube. I'm going to show you guys the kind of shit you have to deal with on a daily basis. So this is on my Starfield Beginner's Guide for the PS5 video that went out this morning. Can I create my own story? Troll5931, whose comment was caught by YouTube for being offensive, says, "This guy looks like a leftist. Sorry, dude, but you and your ilk are a cancer. If cancer couldn't kill to save its wife's boyfriend's life, to the fabric of the real USA, you people will be deleted from history." Okay, let's address a few things here. First and foremost, making a beginner's guide to a video game that is coming out on the PlayStation 5 is in no way, shape, or form political. I made a guide for a video game. That's it. And in that video, which we published earlier today, we talk about how you can create your own story in Starfield. You don't have to follow the quests. You can do what you want. This right here is why I don't permit people to come into my channel and talk about religion or politics during streams. Because there are people out there who will always, no matter what game you are playing, no matter what the topic is, no matter what you're doing. Correct. He commented that on the beginner's guide, but you'll notice this is what's called it. So this is a we are in the community section of YouTube. This is a held comment, and it was specifically hidden. So YouTube says comments that may be offensive have been hidden, and I said show the hidden comment because I want to see it. And in here, so YouTube automatically moderated this guy's comment and hid it from view. Right? So this is on a beginner's guide. You can see the name of the video on the far right. Starfield Beginner's Guide for the PS5. Can I create my own story? That's the comment that this guy left. Correct, Thandar. Imagine being so fragile you crash out in a YouTube comment section instead of getting help. Right? So I like to point this kind of stuff out because I talk about this in my series on how to be a content creator and streamer. You have to be able to have the mental fortitude to withstand this kind of stuff because this is going to happen every single day. This is going to happen in varying degrees. It is very frustrating, no doubt, to make content that is meant to help new players find joy in a video game, and someone out there wants to do this shit. But I will say thank you to YouTube very much for automatically flagging that content as something that would be offensive. Yeah, this person would call me the snowflake. The fact that they're referring to me as a leftist, and then he calls me a leftist, calls me a cancer that is killing the real USA. These are the types of people who attack my wife for being Mexican. These are the people who attack other people for being transgender. These are the people who attack other people for being homosexual, LGBTQ+. This right here, this is someone who has deep-seated mental issues and needs to seek professional help. We're going to hide them from the channel and move on about our day. But I thought that was something interesting to share with you all. Because all I'm doing is creating beginner's guides for the internet. And yet we have psychopaths like that who... What? Why? Why does my beginner's guide on a video game coming to the PS5 offend you to the point where you have to make comments like that? They even name themselves Troll just to be provocative. Starting to wonder how many of them are bots. The vast majority of them are bots, Lady Atara. Even if they are not robots, they are human bots. Because they have no original thought processes, and they only say what they've been programmed to say by their overlords.
What if the wind could cut? Your timing couldn't be better. I just had a brilliant idea. Don't you think plain dyed?
Yeah, the country was founded on well,
Imagine
the modern, I
a
shouldn't say founded
delicate
upon,
fragrance
the founding of the
seeping
U.S.
into
is a
beautifully
very
dyed
controversial topic in and of itself with
with
colonialism.
every breeze,
But I will say that the
colour and
modern
scent
era
mixing
of,
together.
if you can strip back some of the
After dying, I'll grind fragrant herbs
political
and let them
nastiness,
soak into the cloth.
the
Then
country no
let
doubt
it
did
dry
spearhead
slowly under
during
the
some of the
sun.
most troubled times on our planet.
The colour will
Freedom
please
and
the
freedom of
eyes,
speech,
and the
freedom of
scent
religion,
will soothe the heart.
freedom for
So,
women,
if you
etc.
find any decent herbs,
But it is also
you
not,
think you
you know,
could
there's
bring them
just,
to
there's
me?
issues. There's still issues. Every
I'll
country has
craft a
issues.
most exceptional piece from it.
So it's really, it's crazy to think about a country where, I think Russell Crowe was on Joe Rogan's podcast recently talking about how, you know, he obviously lives in Australia and he's from Australia and he's had a successful career because of Hollywood. But he talked about how, you know, one of the biggest strengths of the US is the potential to achieve anything you want, which is something that is not necessarily as achievable in other places. However, it's also plagued with stuff like the commentary we just saw, where I think the way Russell Crowe described it, he says, people who think that the rest of the world doesn't exist and that they're the only ones that have original thoughts. And he's like, mate, you know, is he a Kiwi? I thought he was from Australia, JK. I didn't realize he was from New Zealand. I thought he was Australian. In any case, I know he has a big ranch in Australia. But he was talking about how, you know, you'll see them act like Australians don't exist and that the rest of the world doesn't have original thoughts. That's the problem with stuff like what we just saw, which is why I'm very strict about no politics, no religion in my streams, because of stuff like what we just saw. So to that person, all I can say is I hope you get the mental health you need, because it is obvious that you need it. And that's probably why I thought he was from the Australia, because he has a big ranch in Australia. You're not wrong, Lady Atara. You're not wrong. I will say something here, and I'm going to try to say this in a way that doesn't break my own rules. My brother and I are on completely opposite ends, or we used to be on completely opposite. I would say we used to be on completely opposite ends of the political spectrum. We are definitely on opposite ends of the religious spectrum. I'm an atheist. My brother is a church-going Christian. He and I have had some very healthy discussions on the Bible. My wife is also religious and goes to church on Sundays, and I am not. My wife and I have had some very healthy discussions about religion. You can be on the opposite ends of the spectrum with somebody and still have a loving, healthy relationship with them. And that's a skill I think many people are lacking in the modern era, is they think that if someone is on the other side of the spectrum, they're the enemy. That's a retarded approach. Only a mental infant thinks that someone with an opposing view is automatically the enemy. You can be great friends, family, married to someone who has different opinions on religion and politics. It's not a precursor to being friends with someone. My brother voted the first time around for the person who is currently in power in that country. The first time around, voted for that individual. Why? Because that's how he was raised. He was raised to vote for that political party. And I will give credit to my brother for this, because he watched what happened during the first term, and then am I allowed to say insurrection? I don't know what words I'm allowed to say to get me in trouble. He watched what happened, and then during the next administration, and he was like, when the second time around he did not vote for that person, and he also went, oh my God, why are we only voting for 85-year-old people? Why are there no young people? Why are there no 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, like running for office? Why is it all 85-year-old geriatrics who are one step away from death, who are being allowed to have all this power and control, and they don't give a fuck because they're going to be dead in 10 years? You know, he's like, so I will say my brother is now in his early 30s, and I literally looked at that and went, that, my friend, is what you call growth as a human being. You have allowed yourself to become educated by the knowledge and experience that life brings with you. When you were young, you voted a certain way because that's how you were told you were supposed to vote. And then you started to realize that, oh shit, the world is not like everyone told me it was. And the way people say things are not the way that things actually are. And people say a lot of things when they want to get into office, and then they get in the office and they don't do those things. I'm being very careful not to break my rules here about politics. So he now regrets that he voted the way he voted. What, 8 years ago, 12 years ago, whenever it was. And I'm just like, I'm glad that you are becoming wise with age. A lot of times, people will say a lot of things to get in power, and then they get in power and they don't. And the other problem is corporations running everything, and I think it sounds like the leaders of many countries, Thaindar. That's why I'm getting away with, I'm not crossing any boundaries by talking about specific political parties because I'm not mentioning any countries. I'm not mentioning any names. It could be many countries, because almost every country does it the exact same fucking way. That's the crazy thing, JK. So my family, we were raised not to question anything, because my dad taught us the Bible is law, and everybody who says that they are doing things in the name of the Bible should be trusted and believed, because the Bible is God's word. That's how I was taught, and thank God I was able to break away from that. I wrote a book with a friend years ago in Spanish called Thank God I'm an Atheist. If you speak Spanish, I highly recommend you read that book. It is not available in English. Have I made an army of cats? I have not made an army of cats, but you can make an army of cats. Although I do have a musketeer cat who is awesome. My musketeer boy, who loves my PS5, my PS5. Who's a good boy? That's right, we love our PS5. PS5. Who's a good boy? I also could say, who's a good girl? What's up, Blanca? Oh, did I bother your sleep? She's a good girl. So I do have an army of cats in real life, though. Yeah, we did think it was a great title when we launched it, Superb Chicken. Sheep in wolves' clothing. Yep. Yep. I wish that I could be political, and I've debated at some point in time, guys. I have debated starting a political channel, but not even a political channel, just a channel to go talk about life, which would include political topics and religious topics. Unfortunately, I also know from past experience and from watching other content creators who have attempted to do the same thing, is that invariably the other channel ends up bleeding into the main channel, not by um, not by desire, but the problem is that people who are followers of this channel, the main channel, will go over to the other channel with the intent of, oh cool, we're going to be able to talk about things as mature adults. And every single time what happens is people go over to the other channel and they don't act like adults. And then they bring those fights over into the main channel, and all that creates is a nightmare for moderation for someone like me. And so I refuse to do it. Even though I've had there it's like once a year, twice a year, I'm like, man, I would love to really talk about these things in greater detail. I should go create another YouTube channel. And I'm like, nope, I'm not going to do it. Because all that does is it creates strife and creates enemies, and I don't want to do that. It's like, it's not worth it. So I save those conversations for when I have my Discord calls with my brother, and we just talk about these things, and we laugh about all these people doing crazy things. And we share lots of TikToks with each other. And then I have, like yesterday, I had a 3-hour discussion with my wife about things, and we were just kind of laughing at how crazy the world is. Because, look, I'm a writer at my core. I blogged for a long time. I have 25 million words in print. I was a blogger for many, 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 many years. People who know what blogging is, nobody blogs anymore. But I used to blog for a living. That's how I made a living for many years. And when I first got going, I actually have a book available. I don't know if it's still for sale, to be honest with you. I know it's out there. It's called Beyond Borders: The Social Revolution. And I wrote it after my brother unalived himself. And I had a younger brother who unalived himself because he lost his job in the market crash after 9/11, and he was hundreds of $1,000s in debt with school loans and mortgage payments and everything else. He lost everything, ended up 30 years old back with my parents, and unfortunate circumstances, and just he did not want to continue. And I blame the system. And I wrote a lot of stuff that was very politically charged at that point in my life. And I had a separate website. I had a book called the Expat Guidebook. And I had a separate website and a separate YouTube channel, which I ended up taking offline because I was very angry at that point of time in my life. And there was a good 8 months to a year where I just wrote some really politically charged stuff and made a lot of money, sold a lot of copies of my books. But at the end of the day, I realized I was doing more harm than good by talking about those types of things, and so I just took it all offline. I know you could still find the books. I don't know if you can still buy the books. But yeah, I was very angry about what had happened to my brother, and I think ever since then I've just been very much against that kind of stuff. And it frustrates me when I open up my YouTube channel and I see those types of comments, because I do try very hard most days, not every day. I'm sort of breaking my own rules here, talking about it a little bit, because that comment sparked the conversation. I just like having everything be focused on games, because I think the risk you run is if you start talking about stuff too much, you run the risk of becoming Moist Critical or Asmongold or Hassan or these guys who started off as gaming channels and then went full on down the pipeline of that's all they do know is talk about politics and stirring up people's emotions. And yeah, But there is a part of me who's like, man, I loved some aspects of blogging when you could have a conversation and spark discussion. Unfortunately, I think the world is in a different place these days where you can't really have those discussions as much as you used to be able to because people don't want to have discussions. They want to throw shit at each other and burn everything down and yell at people. Great Force says that's why part of stoicism is great because you can have opinions. It doesn't necessarily mean that you could share them. Morpheus says, would you have started your streaming content creator career earlier if you knew you had the potential to? Or do you not have any regrets and feel like every step you made professionally contributed to something? That's a great question. Thanks for the membership over on YouTube, Kevin McGreary. So Chris and I actually had this discussion the other day, Morpheo, about regrets. I don't think regrets serve any purpose because if you didn't go through those things, do those things, act that way, respond that way, you wouldn't be where you are today. And I am extremely happy with where I am today. Now, have there been things in my past that I would have done differently? There is a weird, this was literally yesterday's discussion at the breakfast table when it was raining. I was supposed to go for a run and I didn't go for a run because we were having this discussion. There are definitely things that I can look back on and go, I wonder what it would have been like if I had done things differently. But the problem is, once you start changing things, I would not be here with Chris, more than likely. And I'm very happy. I have a very blessed relationship with the woman I've been with for the past 16 years. I have a very blessed life. Everything is paid off. I get to play video games for fun. I honestly, the only thing I can really complain about is that where we live gets a little too hot in the summertime for my liking. That's really the only thing I can complain about, right? I don't have perfect weather where I live. That's a pretty tiny complaint. But there are definitely things I can look back on. So I can say here was part of the discussion we had yesterday. So when my wife and I were travel blogging, we were very successful at it. We were being paid to travel around the world. We were being paid to go be public speakers at big travel conferences all over the world. And we were very successful at that. We were in the upper echelons of content creators in the travel space. And we worked very hard to get there. At the height of that was when I started branching off and I founded the game studio to do our MMORPG, right? And that, as a result, split my attention. And we together could have been more successful in the travel space and gone on to do bigger and better things had I not decided to go off and found a game studio and hire, find a bunch of people to come work on the game and then go look for investors and spend, almost 8 years of my life building an MMORPG, right? I could have not done that, right? And she and I could have had a bigger and better career in the travel space. Theoretically, we don't know, right? But we also know that all of the people that we used to work with hit a brick wall like that when COVID happened because the entire world shut down. And so we can look at the items on our bucket list that we wanted, places we wanted to go to as a couple that we won't be able to visit maybe ever. She would love to go to Japan. She would love to go to Egypt, and we can't go anywhere right now because of all the animals. That was a conscious decision we made to have all the animals. So we can look at that and go, could we have gone higher if we stayed in the travel space? Possibly. Would we have also hit that brick wall in COVID, or would we have found a way to evolve? Who knows? All of the people we worked with back in the day 10 years ago, right? When we were at the peak of being travel bloggers. I don't know of any of the people that I was peers with who kept doing it. One person I know of pivoted into a travel history podcast, which has become very successful. So he has become a full-time podcaster, completely different to what he used to do as a travel photographer. Another couple I know of ended up taking their knowledge and founding a travel content company, but they quit traveling. Another couple I know of stopped traveling and instead focused on local content in the state that they lived in. So some people managed to pivot, but a lot of people ended up just going off and doing completely different careers. So, you know, I can be pretty honest about this. There was a time, and some of you can go back and look at this. And some of you who have been around long enough know this. So there was a time when I was developing the MMO, they rebranded after my brother and I moved on. They rebranded, right? The game is called something else now. It is the same game, they just changed the name of it. And in the years since, they have built it into something slightly different. But when it launched, it was the exact same thing, just under a different name. And they rebranded the YouTube channel and deleted 8 years of YouTube content. And I remember looking at that at the time and saying, you know, it's unfortunate that the creative decision was made to do that. Because had I been spending 8 years working on my own YouTube channel instead of that YouTube channel, this YouTube channel could potentially have been much bigger. But at the same time, I did some really cool shit during that time, raising millions of dollars in funding and signing contracts with really big people in the industry and growing a team from nothing to 25 people and launching a game, right? And so even though that thing no longer exists in the same way that it was when I was there, it's still something that I can look back on and say, was it wasted time? No, not at all. Because of the friendships I forged, the relationships I made, and those things allowed me to carry over and start this channel with the authority of having been in game dev for a decade and having met all of these people and been the creative director on an MMO, the founder of a game studio who raised all this money, who signed all these contracts, who met all these people. So you can look at things like that and say, you know, do I have any? It's not really regrets. It's like, well, that channel, you know, this channel could be bigger had I started earlier. Yes, but would it really have been bigger had I started earlier? Because I wouldn't have had all the relationships that I had when I came into this. I wouldn't have the experience that I have coming into this. So there is, I think that Anthony Hopkins was asked a question one time about regrets because he has estranged children. And he immediately responded, like there wasn't even a debate. It was like, do you have any regrets in life? And he went, no. In his Anthony Hopkins accent that I can't do. He's like, no. You know, we are who we are. You know, I can't do an Anthony Hopkins accent. But he was like, we are who we are. The things we went through in life made us who we are today. The decisions we made then are what brought us to where we are today. If you are happy with where you are in life, then you can't really regret the things that you did or went through because those things got you to where you are today. Now, if you're unhappy with where you are, that's a different story. I can't really say that I have regrets per se. It's mostly just what I have done. I mean, it's definitely reflection. I think you definitely look back and reflect on things the older you get. And you reflect on, could things have gone differently? Would I have taken a different path? I don't think there's any human being that would say that they don't reflect on past decisions in life, but I do think there's a big difference between looking back and reflecting on and regretting things or thinking that things would be different, because you don't know that things would be different. Things could be worse had you made a different decision 10 years ago versus 5 years ago versus whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I would never have met Chris had my previous relationship not blown up. I was in a long-term relationship that ended very badly. And it was a shit that sucked. It sucked bad. But had that not happened, I never would have went to Cancun. I never would have met Chris, and I never would have started the new chapter of my life that has become the best chapter of my life yet. So you can look at those types of events, like Jailcrow said, as a butterfly effect. You know, those things always lead to other things. So life is what you make of it, I think, would be the answer to that, maybe. Life is what you make of it. We're in the philosophical section of this morning's stream, everybody. That was a great question. I mean, that is definitely one of those things where JK says, if I had all the money I spent on alcohol back in the day, boy, I'd be able to buy a lot more alcohol. DSM says, this isn't a rant. You need to snip things like this and post them as a Renfail Yaps section to piss off the haters. You can't be on both the swings and the roundabout. Everything is a trade-off. Those are great quotes, guys. Things get personal quick for some people, and personal gets defensive. Yep. You don't, excuse me, that's the thing right there. You have the luxury of second-guessing things now, but if you'd made different choices, it could have been a complete shit show. Correct. Yeah, it's self-fulfilling prophecy too. Yeah. The Ponderings by Renfail. Yeah, it's like I try very often. So there was I don't often talk about the game studio stuff. The reason for that, for anybody who's been around for a while knows, because there was an active there was a bunch of legal stuff that went down because of creative differences. And that was, there was 5 years of all that stuff happening. And so I have to be very careful when I talk about those things to not mention specific names and things, because certain people are, people take things out of context and stuff. But the coolest thing for me when I did that project, because I was the founder of the company, founded this studio, went and brought all the people together to build the team. I brought my brother on board and everything else. And then we went from nothing and building sweat equity over several years to then I got up on stage at the Austin Game Conference in 2017, invited by Intel, presented our MMO in development to everybody who was there. Got to meet Matt Fear from Elder Scrolls Online. Got to meet he was head of Daybreak at the time. Jack Emmerich, who now is back with Cryptic. All those guys looked at my game, put their hands on my game, were like, this is awesome. That right there, when I got on stage at the Austin Game Conference and presented the game, at that point, we were a group of, I think, like 15 people who had also worked with about 10 contractors. Like, we had been working for sweat equity and for free as volunteers up until that point. And then I got on stage, presented our game to the world, and all of a sudden we had investors and game publishers. Jagex was knocking on the door wanting to talk to us. We had investors who came knocking, and that allowed us to then take it to the next stage, which was raising investors. And then there was I can't remember exactly, it was like 2 years of raising money, and then we got to the point where I signed a contract with Bob Brown, who was vice president of commercial sales for Blizzard Entertainment for 20 plus years. And signing that contract with him to have him come on board working with the studio on our MMORPG was like, we've made it, like I've gone from a nobody who brought together a team and spent all these years getting it to this point, raised all this money from investors, and then signing this contract with this legend of the industry. And you'll have people who will look at the game and say, well, the game that launched is not in a good state, and it is what it is. Not every project you do is going to be a home run. But I can say I did it. How many people out there can say that they did that? How many people can say that they successfully founded, raised money, launched an MMO? Not that many people can say that. And I also learned that I have no desire to do that ever again. Like, that was burning the candle at both ends, and I am much happier doing this right here. Just playing games and having fun. But, do I miss flying around the world and hanging out with other heads of MMOs, studios, and, getting to visit all the different game studios as a fellow CEO and creative director? Sure, I miss that shit. But at the same time, I didn't have near as much fun as I'm having right now. And so I can look back on that time and reflect upon that time and say, that was a good time in life, but it also was, now we are in a different place, and here we are much happier. And now it's just Chris and I don't have to stress about all these people with different needs and opinions and creative differences. I don't have to worry about investors. I don't have to worry about legal obligations. I don't have to worry about any of those things. It's just me, myself and I, and my wife, and my cat, who needs some pets in the game. And my other cat in real life, who's asleep, and I'm still going to grab some scritches. And she's going to go, "What the fuck are you doing, Dad? Leave me alone." That's right, seasons come and go. Lady Tara says, I think a lot of people who haven't had a chance to hear a dev just talk without a camera don't realize how much work and stress it is. Oh, I will say this. For all the trolling that you guys think that because you guys have seen the trolling that happens here, the death threats and the people attacking my wife and everything else, as bad as it is some days when I'm streaming here, nothing will be as bad as the hate you receive when you are the creative director of an MMO or the head of a studio, because the amount of people who come out of the woodwork to tell you to off yourself because you patched a game or you did something they didn't like or you ruined their class or whatever, there is no comparison to the amount of threats and stupidity I faced today compared to what I faced when I was doing that job. It was funny because when I was at dinner, I talked about this in a channel video over on YouTube a while back with our channel members. If you want more, you can go watch that video, but you got to be a channel member. This is one of those private videos I do for our channel members in between streams. When I was at the dinner party at Bethesda, I sat at the end of the table with John, who was the creative director on Fallout 76, and we had a good about 2.5 hour. We were chatting about many things, along with Mortissimo Gaming was there for that conversation. I don't say what game it is, Joe California, because I don't want to push any traffic. I don't need people going over there and being like, "Oh, this is Renfail's," and that's just going to piss people off. And yeah, I just try not to mention names or anything like that. Anybody who wants to go do their due diligence can. But I was sitting at the table with John, and we were talking about my past game studio history, and we were, talking about that. And he was like, the funniest thing to me is the amount of people on Twitter X who send me death threats every single day on Twitter. He says, you just have to laugh at it. You have to laugh at those people because they are mentally unwell, and you're just like, okay, whatever. Because meanwhile, you have a successful game that is one of the biggest live service games out there, aka Fallout 76, with a massive TV show behind it. And you're part of a massive franchise with one of the most beloved game studios in the world, and you have people sending you death threats because you didn't make the patch do the thing that they wanted you to do. And I was just like, man, this is why I don't miss that kind of that side of the job, because it is a whole nother level of stress when you're at the top, because everyone is trying to tear you down, and yeah, it's nuts. Thanks, Deja Vu. Appreciate the super chat. I would happily buy your biography. Bonus points if it's on. I have been asked multiple times to write a tell-all book about my time in the game development space because so many people want to know what really happened, and I will probably never do that. The reason is because at some point you have to look at things as just sort of like water under the bridge, right? Creative differences happen all the time. It's kind of like a divorce when you go through, if you've ever been through a divorce, if someone's ever been through a divorce. You can either continue to hate those people and continue to stew on that and let that eat your life up. But you know what I've learned? Wasn't it Einstein? Who said this? Someone said the best form of vengeance is to go out and have success. And I feel like if you look at what I have accomplished since then, I have had massive success. Other people have not been so lucky. So for me, the best thing that I've been able to do is just focus on myself, my wife, and my streaming career. And I have had amazing success with this. And that comes back to the whole regret thing. Regrets and looking back and all this other stuff. And it's like, you can't let that kind of stuff, don't focus on it. Like, just move on and it is what it is. I could promise you that you will be happier by just focusing on what's in front of you and moving forward. This is funny, guys. This is probably the most I've ever talked about this in years. But also partly, the statute of limitations is gone, so technically I could write a book about it, but I don't want to write a book about it. It's like, what's the point of going back and focusing on that stuff, when I have so many games to play and so much stuff to look forward to and things I can do. And in the years that have passed since then, they have gone on and taken what was launched and sort of made it into their own thing. So, I mean, kudos to them for doing that. It is a lot different these days than what it was when it came out. But the coolest part about that is just knowing that I did it. Not many people can say that. And I've got all the signatures and contracts and paperwork and everything that shows that I did it. JK says, like the racing car driver who was asked why he had no mirrors and he said, "What's behind me doesn't worry me." Yes, I built a thing. I put it out there into the world, and it, for better or for worse, it has gone on and done its own thing since it got put out in the world. Now it has its own life, independent of me, and that's fine. It's great. But then I also, I went with my brother, and immediately after that, we formed a second game studio, and that one I can talk about, which is the one that we still have, which is Wandering Hermits Studios, which is what we published our tabletop game through, which was fully funded through Patreon, fully funded by all of the people who supported it. We published a tabletop game, which was a 5th edition rule set in our own world, built like Dragonlance. We published a novel in that world, and we worked on a point-and-click adventure game, which never actually made it to the finish line because my brother ended up having to move, his house and his business blew up, and my streaming career blew up. So we only ever got that one to the beta stage, and then he was like, we should switch it over to Unity or to Unreal 5 because it was an Unreal 4. And we will occasionally talk about it, but it's out there playable for the people who want to play the demo. It's about 2 hours long. It's a lot of fun. And my wife worked on that one with us as well. So she did a lot of the interior work in the tabletop book. We worked with about 10 different contractors for artwork in the guide, in the tabletop. So we have a 5th edition rule set tabletop campaign out there that's been published for several years now, along with the first novel in that series. And that was another thing where we successfully did that. It was all done through Patreon. Like, we literally didn't have to spend any money out of pocket to build that project. It was literally all done through Patreon funds. So it's like another one of those things where it's like, yeah, been there, done that, built it, sold it, move on to the next project. I've gotten to do a lot of creative shit in my life, which is a lot of fun. We've worked on like the adventure collection project that I worked on with all those travel companies. You know, I did a big, huge, I got paid 15 grand by Backroads Travel was the name of the company, which is a huge travel company out of California, to write a white paper and teach them how to work with influencers, how to go out there and bring influencers on board and work with them. Like, I have been paid very well and been very successful in my previous careers, which is why I always chuckle when someone will come into my chat and be like, "You've only got 3 viewers on your Kick stream. You've only got 14 people watching your Twitch. There's no way you're making a full-time living." It's like, okay, yeah, you clearly haven't Googled me or researched who I am or what I've done, because all my shit's been public since 2007, 2008. Life's a journey, kids. Soak it all up. All right, buddy. You ready to take the plunge? Where did the cat disappear to as I jumped off the bridge? Is he still going to appear when I fall down here to the ground? No, he definitely disappeared. He was like, I ain't eating off. Well, technically they're not, Jailcrow. Something I do, which my wife does not approve of, by the way. And I've been inspired by this because years ago I used to watch a guy called Pat Flynn from Smart Passive Income, who was bigger than me and doing what I wanted to do when I was a blogger back in like 2008. And he shared income statements on his website to put his money where his mouth is and show people how successful he was, how he was making his money, contracts, everything else. And that really inspired me years and years ago. So I've always been a big fan of doing that. So even though technically, no, my finances are none of their business, I do publish my income reports and my analytics reports on YouTube for our channel members. We do analytics reports and income reports quarterly. They are not public. You do have to be a channel member to access those. But for the people who like to see how the pie is made, I've been doing that ever since I started this journey and got monetized with my YouTube channel. Ever since I went full-time.
I think you may be outnumbered.
Outnumbered, schmumbered. So we did one in January, which is the last one I did, which was the end of 2025 income report. How much money did I make in 2025? Where did it all come from? How much was ad revenue? How much was membership subscriptions? How much was subscribers on Twitch? How much was merch sales? How much was contracts for sponsored streams and sponsored reviews? How much were book sales? And then we will probably be doing an income report this month because March was the end of the first quarter. And March was, I was saying this earlier, I think March was our second biggest month of all time. Thanks to Starfield and Crimson Desert. So I'll probably be doing an updated income report for our quarterlies sometime this week or next week. My wife does not approve of me doing that. But the way I counter that is by like, well, it's not technically public information, honey, because you have to be a channel member. And most people, you know, people who are just randos in the internet aren't going to join the channel just to look at your income reports. Certainly no one who has ever claimed that I don't make any money doing this. None of those people have ever subscribed for the $3 that it costs to join my channel as a member to check out the income reports. And even if they did, you know, they're going to accuse that. They're going to accuse me of doctoring the screenshots with Photoshop and, you know, there's no way that you're actually making that kind of money. You're full of it. You're lying. Okay. Sure. Sure, sweetheart. Do, 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 do. I don't know that any of these are easy to do at this point. I haven't managed to get this one. Defeat 5 enemies with a shield without taking damage. I could try to do that. I need to go find a camp of bandits. Not really in the mood to do any. Are these bandits? They are. So I gotta try to not take any damage.
This one's done for.
Nope. Stop! That's gonna be so hard to do. God damn it. Nope, see, without taking damage is a huge deal. I just don't know about this one. Ah! Come on. That was not defeating him with the shield. See, now I got my back to the archer dude, and I'm only down to 4 guys. I don't think this is going to be... Yeah, I've just fucked it. I took damage. I have yet to get this one to work. This is a really hard challenge. I don't think there's a timer on it, so maybe I could get... Nope, I just took damage. See what I mean? Like, it's really hard to get this one. You won 633 silver in a 5-card game? Damn. Yeah, I haven't been able to... I've tried this one a bunch of times, and I've yet to be able to successfully kill 5... I don't ever get past 3. When you clear an area, they start... Hold up, you can hide in haystacks? What the fuck? I didn't know you could do that. A little bit of Assassin's Creed. Wait for them to run and then attack them from behind. Alright, are these guys bandits? There's only 3 of them, though.
You just have that kind of face.
I just have that... I do have that kind of face. That's how I make a living online, buddy.
Pound him into the ground. I'll break you down. You're expecting me to kiss you?
Ah, I took damage! God damn it! I definitely feel, yeah, Mithrain, I think this is like, if you look at, like No Man's Sky was like, I think I remember making a video around 85 or 90 hours into the game where I was like, I can't believe I'm still learning new things. Now, granted, I came into No Man's Sky when Worlds Part 1 came out, which was like 8 or 9 years after it launched, so they had a lot of time to add stuff. This game just launched, having so many things. I do really feel like if they could polish the shit that they have, this could become a... It still has a fundamental issue with the story, but I will say that all of the mechanics and the things, they have so much to do in this game. Fishing, card games, hunting, smithing, like, horseback riding. Like, there's all these things. You could build a balloon, build a mech, build a jetpack, like ride a train, go solve puzzles in the sky. There are so many things to do in this game, but unfortunately, so many of those things are fundamentally lacking polish. I got really pissed yesterday. No joke. Like, I got very angry yesterday doing the fishing because I kept casting my fishing into the middle of the pond, not doing anything. No fish nibbling. I'm not I literally cast the line. The line is bobbing there. I'm not doing anything. I'm waiting for the fish to bite. And then all of a sudden, you've broken your line because of you did so. And I'm like, I didn't do shit. I'm sitting there and the line is bobbing. I'm not doing anything. And the reason is because underneath the water, there was a rock that it's bobbing on the top of the water, and that string is hitting the top of the rock, and the collider is activating and telling me that I've broken the string. That is bullshit that needs to be polished. If they could polish that, the fishing minigame is just a fishing minigame. And while I do think the controls need to be fixed, fundamentally, a fishing minigame is not a bad thing. I like fishing in minigames. I do not like the fishing in this game because it lacks polish. Because we're tickling the hitbox of the rock. And the other thing that pissed me off is, like, when you have the fishing pole out, I'm going to show you really quick. The quest had me on a dock, right? And it told me that I needed to fish from that spot to do the thing. And then I moved my fishing pole to the right, like so. Like I'd move it to the left like this, or the right. There was an NPC standing right next to me. And when I do this, it would hit the NPC, and it would break the line. And it would ruin the fishing. So it was like, if you're going to have a fishing minigame where you're told to stand at a dock and fish next to a dude that's also on the dock, there is no way that my fishing line should break when I bump him with the fishing line. There should not be a collider on that NPC, right? Oh, you can go back and watch the stream, Chicken. I have no problem with the rocks that are breaking through the surface. Like, if I were to pull, I don't see any rocks that would work here. So you see this rock right here? This rock is breaking the surface. That rock right there is breaking the surface. So if I were to pull my fishing pole against that rock, I would have no problem if it were to break the line. Because that's a rock. So if I were to pull this over, it's probably going to tell me that I broke the line. No, I'm not quite in the right way. Anyway, the fishing line snapped if we get caught in an obstacle. If I did that on a rock that's poking up out of the water, totally acceptable. The problem, if you go watch the stream back, I was casting out in the middle of the pond, just like this, and that I wasn't doing anything. Hands off the controller. I was just sitting here like this. It was bobbing in the water, and then it would say, your line has broken because of whatever the message in which we just saw. And I was like, that's bullshit, because I haven't moved the fishing line. Like, I haven't done anything. So those are the types of things that I look at and say, they have got to fix that. And that is just polish. This goes back to Skyrim. When Skyrim launched, Skyrim was a janky, buggy, hot mess. Skyrim went on to become a generational game that to this day is praised as one of the best RPGs of all time. I think that if they can fix those types of issues in this game and polish all these rough edges, of which there are many, then this game also has the chance of being a generational game for, that becomes something magical that sells tens of millions of copies over the next 15, 20 years. I really do think that. I do believe in this game's vision. I do love this game. I've had a lot of fun playing this game. I have probably 90 hours after this stream in this game. But it needs polish. And unfortunately, you get a lot of smooth brains who watch my videos and they go, all you ever do is bitch about this game. No, I don't. I critique. And I say that these things need work. I will occasionally use language that makes it sound like I'm bad-mouthing, like, these controls are dog shit. They are! The controls need work. Universally, every single person who has played this game has said the controls need to be fixed. It's just fact. And they have said they are working on fixing the controls. And things like that need work. They gotta fix. They gotta polish. And they have done 2 amazing patches. And I have no doubt that they will continue to do so. Hang on, I'm writing down some notes. I have no doubt that they will continue to fix things. And I think when they do fix things, once they have fixed all the rough edges and patched everything in and added DLC content and free updates and all the things that they've said they're going to do, if they pull through with that, I do think that this can become a generational game. I really do. It is breathtakingly beautiful to play. The exploration is quite possible. It's definitely one of the better open world games that I've ever played in terms of I can see it, I can go to it. It is beautiful in terms of traversing this game. But it's got a long way to go to become the Skyrim of its generation. On that note, I'm done for the day, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. I have got to go to the vet with my wife and the grocery store and the feed store, and we have a bunch of errands we have to run this morning. So I'm about to go publish a Starfield video, which is a Renfail rant that someone claimed yesterday. We had a Renfail rant during the beginning of this stream, which I'll be clipping out later and publishing tomorrow, courtesy of Napier, so stay tuned for that. But I'm about to go publish a Starfield rant that someone redeemed last night over on YouTube that you guys can go watch. And then later today, I'll be back for another Starfield stream in the afternoon, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for hanging out this morning. We will be continuing to play Crimson Desert leading up to the launch of Starfield next Tuesday, along with other things. Just published our schedule for the month of April last night over on YouTube, so if you haven't watched the schedule video, what games am I playing in the month of April and what is the schedule to play those games, go check that video out. And I'll see everybody this afternoon for some Starfield, or tomorrow morning for more Crimson Desert if you don't want to watch Starfield. See you next time. Gracias, Neramo. Adios.